It's better than Sunday sauce. Sunday Politics with Matt.
Madam Vice President, I know you're directly affected, so you fire away. No pun intended.
Indeed.
8 more days. 8 more days until this absent-minded, the left hand doesn't know what the right hand is doing, put one foot in front of the other, disastrous administration comes to an end. Hey, Madam Vice President, I know you're from California here, and you have a personal experience here with all this, so why don't you fire away? No pun intended. We've heard comments like that, not only the last 4 years, but for the last 20-ish or so years that Joe Biden has really thrusted himself into the spotlight of American politics. Gaffe after gaffe after gaffe after gaffe. Oh, he's got a stutter. That's the excuse that they used to put out there to us, but it is clear, it was clear, it has been clear for a very long time that the man's brain is nothing but pudding. And regardless of your thoughts on Donald Trump, I think there is a great sense of relief that these last 4 years will come to a close. Kamala Harris will not be president of the United States, and a brand new beginning in American politics will emerge. I wanted to talk really briefly about these past few elections. In 2004, John Kerry secured 59.0 million votes. In 2008, Barack Obama 69.5 million. When he sought re-election in 2012, he won 65.9 million. Hillary Clinton won 65.8 million votes. In 2020, there's that magic number. Joe Biden had 81 million votes. I want somebody to explain to me how and when and why that is possible. There is no way that Joe Biden secured 81.28 million votes in 2020. Not that long ago, in 1996, I'm sure we were all alive, Bill Clinton won the election with 47 million votes. We're approaching double the amounts for Joe Biden in 2020. This was the guy who campaigned in his basement. The legacy that he leaves behind is one of America last. His constant gaffes, his continual confusion as to who he was, where he was, saying things like, God save the Queen, man, when he was giving a speech in New England shortly after Queen Elizabeth died. When he said at the White House Thanksgiving pardon, 57 million turkeys, that's about how many countries I've been to. I truly do not believe he's joking. There are several theories as to what and where Joe Biden thinks this presidential election ended. We saw his elation, so it seemed, with Donald Trump. Personally, I believe that he thinks that he finished 2 consecutive terms. He had an 8-year presidency. And that Donald Trump, I don't know, is a lot better than her, and so he wanted him to win. I don't think that these are conspiracy theories. I don't think that these are exaggerations. I can truly and honestly say, before you here today, that he is mentally incapacitated and has absolutely no idea as to what he's doing. So the question becomes, he was sitting there with his pudding brain rotting away. Kamala Harris was campaigning. Nancy Pelosi is being Nancy Pelosi. Who runs the country? Who was running the country? Who has been running the country? Now, before I even speculate on that, I don't want to dive into these deep, dark, black pill moments of the world being one giant conspiracy theory, because I don't believe it is. I think that there are some things that are orchestrated. I think there are some things that are plotted and well thought out and conducted. But I don't believe that the world is all one big stage for us to sit there like sheep and to watch. I believe that we do have an active hand in the lives we live, the politics that govern over us, and the outcomes that we face and will one day live under are, for the most part, authentic. But something very suspicious was done in 2020 to secure the election for Joe Biden, and we all know it. And I think the point that I want to make today, I know the point that I want to make today, is that America as a country is better off. It's better off with the loss that we took in 2020 as a nation, because whether you're Democrat or Republican, Joe Biden winning that election was a loss for our country. And now it gave Donald Trump and his team a fresh new start with experience, with newfound knowledge, with a new temperament, and with a lot more, should I say, desire, or a lot more emphasis on what truly can be done to rebuild this great nation, because we need rebuilding. And so it goes to show you how sometimes the results that you get might not be the results that you want for the time being. But in a lot of ways, things do end up working out for the better, and this is a prime example of it. Right now, we would be at the end of Donald Trump's 8-year term. You don't know how politics plays out after that. A lot of times there is that party switch. The pendulum goes the other way. Democrats find a good candidate, and maybe we would be on the verge of a Democrat administration. But we're not. We survived the Biden years. We survived the Kamala Harris years somehow, some way. And now we are on the brink of a new administration that has a chance to continue to reshape the United States Supreme Court. And I think that as Americans, as global citizens, if I can use that expression, the world is better off with Donald Trump in the White House. And we know that because we lived it. We saw what he did and how he handled countries like Pyongyang and North Korea, how he handled China and Russia. Threats were neutralized. How he handled Iran, how he handled much conflict in the Middle East, how he handled Ukraine. All of these things erupted when he left office for a reason. And I know that there are a lot of people out there who think that Trump is just one of those other puppets that the Illuminati or whatever other party you might have in mind uses to push forth their agenda. I don't go down that path. I can't go down that path. Trump is a flawed man, an imperfect man who has made many regrettable decisions in his past. But for what this country can be, there is some sort of moral compass that now exists. And I think that there is a right-wing, either a reaction, probably more likely, or a movement in this country going on today. I think America as a whole, as a people, is more conservative today than they were several years ago. And I think it's for the very reason that the left has exposed themselves not as a group of people who just disagrees with you or thinks differently than you, but pushes forth an insane agenda marked with corruption, marked with all sorts of immoralities and wickednesses that the everyday individual who might not pay too much attention to politics or social issues of our time is outraged that some of these things are being made to be so understood as normal. to a fairly normal population. And I think when you compare the American people as a whole to countries and cities and groups of people in other parts of the world, that America ranks fairly, not completely, but fairly conservative. Some of the things that you see going on in England and France and Spain wouldn't happen here. And I think that as we close out this final week of these last 4 years, that America is on the brink of a rebirth. Donald Trump has promised a golden age. Can we get there? That is the question I'll leave with you today. Can a golden age come of these next 4 years? I think that Trump could have a good term. I think America can be widely successful. And I think with that, the movement established by him nearly 10 years ago will continue to roll out, and that you might actually see the reshaping of American politics. You're already seeing it to the extent of which Republicans and Democrats are no longer the party that they once were. And there will be a magnitude of a shift where some common sense, where some decency, where some morality reigns in our streets again. Thank you for listening to Sunday Politics with Matt. Please like, share, and subscribe. Tune into our show next week where we will be on Inauguration Eve. God bless.